Hello, Jose.
Hi, Mohit.
Hi, Gaurav. How are
Hi, good
you?
evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Fantastic. We've got people coming in. Welcome to the webinar, Asian Adventures and WTI webinars. We've got people signing in. Oh my God, we've got almost 250 people registered so far, which is excellent. And I'll just change some settings. Okay, we did all of that. Welcome, friends. Namaste to all of you. Good evening. And welcome Rao, Sajal, Sachin, Nat Sampat, Renee, Diksha, Mahesh. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Friends, I'm going to wait for another minute for more people to join in. And I'll quickly introduce myself in the meantime. I am Mohit Aggarwal. For those who don't know me, who haven't been to these webinars earlier, let me introduce myself. I'm Mohit Aggarwal. I'm the founder of Asian Adventures. We completed 30 years of our existence, and we are a conservation travel company. The idea and the purpose of Asian Adventures is to aid conservation through tourism. We have the largest share of bird watching business in India, and like I said, we've been into this for 30 years. And today I have a very dear friend of ours with us, Jose Louies, who is the CEO of WTI and is also the snake expert. I will let him introduce himself to you. So go on, Jose, and after that I want Gaurav to introduce himself to you. He's my colleague, and then we'll get started with Jose's webinar.
Yeah.
Over to you, Jose.
Thank you, Mohit. It is always a pleasure to interact with you and the team. And this is probably second or third webinar we are working together. My name is Jose Louies. I worked with Wildlife Trust of India as the Chief Executive Officer. But also I have another identity, those who interacted with me as a snake expert. So I started this website, indiansnakes.org in 2010, and running the website since then. A snake rescuer for a long time, and also happen to train people across the country on snakes and snake bites. So I'll interact with all of you today, and thank you for joining, and over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much. Namaste, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Gaurav Nalkur, for those of you who don't know me. I'm an avid bird watcher and avid wildlife lover. And I'm also a big believer in the fact that wildlife tourism, when done in a responsible manner, of course, can be a great aid to conservation and conservation NGOs, for example, WTI. And, I am training to be an ecotourism professional, but I am qualified as a wildlife biologist. And I'm so thrilled and honored to be working with Asian Adventures for the last 5 years, small fraction of the 30 years that it's been in existence. But the last 5 years have been a great experience working with Asian Adventures and Mohit, both of whom share my goal of using wildlife tourism as a tool towards wildlife conservation and awareness. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. And I think we'll carry on with today's webinar. I'm sure most of you are eagerly waiting that.
Yeah, people have already started asking questions, about poisonous and venomous difference and whole lot of other things that people will ask. So over to you, Jose. We've already done 4 minutes of our talk, and over to you now. We'll become silent.
Yeah. Mohit, could you please put the first slide on? Okay. I hope the screen is visible to everyone. Can anybody
please, yes, if the screen is visible to you in the chat box. so we know that everybody can watch and everybody can listen to Joe's properly.
Okay, I think yes, Sachin is Ritika. Okay, thank you guys. So let me talk about snakes for next 1 hour, and this is a webinar which is coordinated between Asian Adventure Wildlife Trust of India, and I introduce Indian Snakes as the expert group one. I have a set of snake experts who work with me. So today we will discuss about snakes of India and various species found across the country. Something about the snake bites and the problems we face. Well, if any of you have a problem with audio or video or screen, put it in the chat box about those problems. All right. So Mohit, next slide, please. So, just some scientific definitions, like, this will give you an idea. Snakes are limbless animals, and they have got their entire body covered with scales, and they don't have external ears. And all the snakes which we know are carnivorous in nature, and the habitats are different. I mean, I could see there are a couple of international audience also today. I'm largely going to talk about the snakes found in India. It is the Indian habitats we will be discussing a bit. In India, almost all parts of the country you can find snakes, except the very high altitudes of Himalayas. Otherwise, you will find snakes most part of the country. So we got about 340 or even 340 plus snakes. Even yesterday, there was a new species found, or there was a publication about a discovery of a new species from the northeastern part of the country. And out of this 340 or 350, about 30 of them are venomous snakes. Venomous snakes means snakes which have got a venom gland and which can bite you. And the other snakes are non-venomous. So you can easily say that about 300 species of snakes which are found in India are non-venomous. They are actually, in my opinion, all the snakes are harmless, but in a little more restricted definition, I will say that almost 300 species of snakes are absolutely harmless to human beings. And in India, snakes are protected as wild animals under the law. We have the Wildlife Protection Act, and every snake found in India is protected as a wild animal. But even though I said that snakes are harmless, in India we have a problem of snake bites. We lose an astonishing number of, a troubling number of 50,000 people a year due to snake bites, because we have a large number of venomous species spread across the country. I mean, there are 4 species of snakes which are responsible for the human deaths, and they are found commonly across the country. So that's a problem. All right. Well, people are telling, I would like to get comments in the chat box, and I will keep on answering those comments also. I got a comment from Yagnesh Parthasarathi. 18 snakes are highly venomous to humans. There are varying numbers, but yes, there are highly venomous and there are mildly venomous. So I'm just responding to that comment. Probably what Yagnesh is meaning is that highly venomous means the snakes which can definitely kill you. But there are snakes which we call mildly venomous. They are venomous, but they don't have enough venom to kill the human beings. So thank you for that comment. And anybody who got a comment, please put it. Mohit, I am going to the next slide. So, I have the previous and next button here. Okay.
Sure. You manage it. No problem.
Yeah. So now let me tell you, today's webinar, I mean, please trust me that none of you are going to become snake experts unless and until you are already one. This webinar, I am not making you snake experts. This webinar is, or this workshop, whatever you call, is designed for common man who would like to know more about snakes. So if you think that, here I'm going to talk a lot of science about snakes, not much science is going to be discussed. Common things will be. Saikat Basu, I will answer that question after this. All right. So my aim today is to help you to learn how to identify the snakes. Don't look at a snake and try to identify the snake with just the color or pattern or size or behavior. So you need to identify, if you want to identify a snake, it is a combination of various characters, which is the color, pattern, size, behavior, etc. So the first thing, let me tell you that don't look at a snake and say that that is venomous or non-venomous. So please be warned from the beginning itself. Like the photograph of those two snakes which are shown above on the left side are the same snakes. They look different. They have different colors, but they are the same species from the same habitat, but they have a different coloration. So, you look at a snake and some people say that all the yellow snakes are, venomous and all the black snakes are non-venomous, things like that. So it is nothing like that. So don't just look at the coloration of the snakes. It's a combination of various things. So today we will discuss about a few common snakes which are found in India. Also, so this is a good example for people. I don't know, many of you can easily identify. No need of identifying and answering this. On the left-hand side, what you see is the left-hand side top. It is the common cobra. And the right-hand side, it's a rat snake. The left-hand side one is venomous. The right-hand side is non-venomous. There are no labels on the snakes to easily identify and tell you that it is venomous or non-venomous. And for a common man, for a layman, if you are not very familiar with snakes, both the snakes look the same. These are, long snakes with, large eyes, or snakes with some patterns. So that is how people will describe it. So don't just look at a snake and decide what it is, whether it is venomous or non-venomous. Also, to demystify this fact that, many people think that the cobra is always spreading its hood and moving around. No, cobra does not move, spread its hood when it is calm and when it is not threatened. So when it is only in a agitated condition, they will be spreading their hood. Then there are a number of snakes which I put, which are, some of them are venomous. You can see that if people are not very familiar with snakes, you may get confused with the snakes. So some of them are venomous, some of them are non-venomous, some of them are mildly venomous. So as it is an online session, I'm not able to do the interactive exercise. So I go to the next slide. And let me show you the snake which is shown in the first picture. That is a common cobra, which is a venomous snake. It does look very harmless, but it is a venomous snake. Next one below, left-hand side, second picture, that's a rat snake, which is a non-venomous snake. Then we have got something like, cat snake in the middle. See, it's a cat snake. It's a mildly venomous snake. It's not harmful to human beings. If you get bitten by the snake, you may have a local swelling and a little bit of uneasiness, but you will not die. But snake D, it is a highly venomous, commonly found snake. That is the crate. And but the snake E, again, it is a black snake, but it is totally different from the crate. It looks similar, but that is a non-venomous snake. Belongs to the wolf family of snake, or Lycodon family of snakes. And the snake in the last column, last photograph, is a striped keelback, which is again a very harmless snake. But many people think that that's a cobra, because if the picture is clear, you can see that there is a small marking just below the head of the snake. Many people think that that's a venomous snake. So the identification can be very much misleading unless and until you know the snake. So please don't look at the coloration of the snake or patterns on the snake and say that it is a venomous or a non-venomous snake. Okay. Now, the problem when you try to identify a snake, describing the appearance of a snake. Many times people call me, or many of my friends who are kind of an experts or who know snakes, they will say that you try to in your mind you try to describe the snakes. You see a snake with the yellow bands on the snake. I mean, the first one, probably that is an easy snake to identify, a black snake with yellow bands on the body. Many people will easily identify it as a banded krait, which is a venomous snake. But what about the other snakes? It is very difficult. How you identify, how you describe the snakes. You can say that a brownish snake with white bands on it. But in the second column, there are two snakes which looks similar. One is a krait and one is a wolf snake. Wolf is on the top and the krait is below. Krait is a black color snake with white bands. In the evening, in darkness, when you see the snakes, it will be difficult to exactly tell the colors. Many times people mistake these two snakes. But then on the last column, you have a python and a Russell's viper. Maybe the photo is very clear here. It is easy to identify, but many people mistake these two snakes. So just looking at the appearance of the snake, you cannot say whether it is venomous, whether it is non-venomous, whether it is harmful, harmless. No one can tell you by the patterns on the snake. So there are 6 snakes here. Only 2 of them are venomous and 3 of them are non-venomous. So let me start the identification helpline also. Like the first photograph on the top, it's the left hand side, it's a banded krait, which is a venomous snake. Second one, which is below that, which is a common sand boa, which is a non-venomous snake. But this is a very, very interesting snake, because the moment you disturb the snake, it has a tendency to bite you. And many people think that it is a viper, because it's a ground-dwelling snake, and it has got certain looks and feel of a viper. Some people think that it is a baby of a python. No, it is a common sand boa. So the patterns are very similar to the python, which is on the upper right corner. So many people mistake these two. In the middle, you have got the wolf snake and the krait. Wolf snake on the top, krait bottom. Wolf snake is a harmless snake and the krait is a venomous snake. And finally, on the right hand side, you have got the Indian rock python on the top and the Russell's viper in the bottom. Russell's viper, which is a highly venomous snake. On the top, it is an Indian rock python, which is not a venomous snake, but a large python can actually deliver a very painful bite or can even cause serious injury. All right. Also, the behavior of snakes, unlike many other animals which you see, unlike birds or mammals, reptiles don't make noise. So that's a problem. So they have to express their fear or their anger with a very limited options, like but that can be misleading at times. For example, on the left hand side, there is a wine snake which is opening its mouth. It is actually it's a behavior where the snake is actually scared. These 3 snakes are looking at you with a different mood. I mean, definitely on the right hand side, it is a Malabar pit viper, which is definitely showing its displeasure to you by opening its mouth and trying to attack you. It is basically the snakes are telling you that, okay, we are snakes, please be away from us. But in the middle, there is a trinket, which is a harmless snake. But unfortunately, the behavior of the snake is very, very intimidating. Like the snake is coiling, and it is raised its head and opened its mouth. It is kind of trying to attack. It is nothing. It is actually the snake is so scared of you. It is trying to escape. It is trying to scare you by mimicking some other snake, or doing a bit of a drama to tell you that please be away from me. So don't go by the behavior of snakes. So, if a snake is just opening its mouth, it doesn't mean that it is a venomous snake. You need to understand what is a venomous snake and a non-venomous snake from identification. Also, interestingly, the photograph on the right-hand side, it's a viper. You can see the sheathed fang of the snake. It's an interesting picture, and also it is showing the ability of the snake to open its mouth very big. So that is what is helping the snake to swallow its prey. You can see that the jaw is almost at a what it is 180 angle. It's almost 120-degree angle. It is opened, and also you can see the fangs which are coming out. And those who watch it very carefully, you can see that in one sheath there are two fangs. Certain viper species have a reserve fang also, and when they are not, when the mouth is closed, the fangs are very much kept safely in the cover. So it is opening the mouth, and it is showing that fangs, literally showing the fangs to tell you that keep away from me. So that's a good photograph showing a bit of an aggressive behavior of a viper when it is disturbed. And don't judge a snake by the color of the snake. So you have two beautiful green color snakes. One of them is venomous, mildly. One of them is a viper. One of them is a harmless snake. It's a green keelback, which is on the first photograph. In the first photograph, it's a green keelback, which is a absolutely harmless snake, which is found largely in the west coast of India and some parts of Western Ghats. And the other one is a pit viper, which is venomous. And on the right hand side, many people already must have got confused whether it is a crate or it is something else. It is not a crate. It is again a Lycodon family. It's a wolf family snake, which is non-venomous, but it looks like a crate. So don't look at just the color of the snake and assume that it is venomous or non-venomous. So the colors can be different. So let us go back. When you look at a snake, please look at these characteristics. The pattern of the snake. You should not depend only on the pattern. You should not look at the behavior only. Behaviors can be absolutely misleading, and you should not look only at the color. But sometimes these things can help you to identify, but don't look at one of it, but look at a combination of all three, and then you probably will be able to identify the snake correctly. I got my friend looking at me and laughing, telling that it is probably the same with the human beings. Yes, you cannot look at the color and pattern and say that whether the human being is a good one or not. Thank you for that. All right. So now let me take you to some of the non-venomous snakes which are found very commonly across the country. This is a checkered keelback, which is commonly found all over the country. Which is commonly known as the water snake, usually found in water bodies. Now it is monsoon. The snake is very common in most part of the country, except the higher altitudes of Himalayas. You will find the snakes, and I think the most commonly found snake across the country. I don't think that there is a human being here in India who never saw a checkered keelback in their life. If you went anywhere near a water body, you must have come across with a checkered keelback. All right. I am not getting into the details of identifying the checkered keelbacks, but I can tell you that this is, as you can see, it has got a checkered pattern on the body, and it has a greenish color or a dull green color here. One of the interesting thing is that most of the checkered keelbacks have this. You can see on the upper right there is a close-up of the snake. Under the eye there are two streaks. The eye is round with round pupil. It's a small eye with round pupil. That's what we call when we try to describe the snake. But the two streaks down under the eye is a good way to identify the snake. Again, interestingly, these are photographs of checkered keelback taken by a good friend of mine, Vivek Sharma, from various parts of the country. The scientific name is actually upgraded. It is no more the scientific name. It is upgraded. It's known as a Flavia piscator. But anyway, don't look at the scientific name, any of you. You can look at the different color patterns of checkered keelback. The color can vary from various parts of the country. Like you look at the first photograph and the last photograph. Last photograph, you can see that the snake is almost, black snake with some patterns on the snake. And in the last column, the top photograph, you can see that there are no patterns on the snake. So that exactly, the same species or the same snake can have different coloration across the country. So don't just look at the color. Again, I'm telling you, you have to watch the snake closely. But there are certain things which will not change, like, the round pupil, or a little bit of scientifically, if you go, we actually try to identify the snake with the number of scales on the body. There is a way of counting scales on a snake. That is for the advanced set of people. But otherwise, the coloration can be different. But looking at certain characteristics of the snake, we will identify the snake as checkered keelback. Very common snake, not a venomous snake, a harmless snake, which you can find most part of the country. Then the other one is, it's again another common snake, the Indian rat snake, which is again, very common. Everybody must have seen a rat snake in their life. Usually very, very common in farmlands, in a bit of wooded area, mixed plantation areas, you will find rat snakes. As the name says, it's an excellent hunter of rodents, whether it is rats or squirrels, it doesn't matter. It is common, it is harmless, it's very useful for people because it kills rats. The good thing is that rat snakes often get inside the burrows of rodents, especially rats, to hunt them, and they're very active. They are not very, very lazy snakes. If you have a rat snake around, you can see it around always. It will be moving around, it will be hunting, and it will be, it will climb, it will come in the open areas. So many times people come and people encounter rat snakes. The coloration can be very different across the country. In the southern part, you will find rat snakes with a yellowish color, which is known as the yellow rat snake. But there is no yellow rat snake; it is actually the same rat snake. A good way of identifying this is looking at the scale shapes. They have got diamond-shaped scales on the body. Please, I mean, those who are not expert with snakes, I'm very scared when I do an online session with people. I really don't know what background you are from, so please don't go very close to a snake to find out whether it is a rat snake or a cobra. One good way of identifying a rat snake is that we say that, towards the end of its body, like on the tail, the patterns are like a net pattern. Like you can see that the tail is elongated, tapering with a net-like pattern on it. So you can see that pattern, and it is easy to identify the snake with that pattern. And they often grow big. 5 feet, 6 feet. Rat snakes are pretty common. And when they are big and when they are active, when they are active during the day, there are a lot of encounter with the people, and many people get scared by seeing this big snake. And unfortunately, rat snakes, as they are rat snakes, they also enter into houses in search of rat, nothing else. It is not to kill you, but it's a dreadful condition for many people when they have a large, huge snake inside their house. So probably in most cases, you find rat snakes in kitchen, and they're very active. That's another problem. Once a rat snake is detected, then you can see that the rat snake will move around, it will hide somewhere. After a few minutes, it will move again. And they're good climbers. They can actually climb through the window and get out. So in this commotion, actually, a lot of people kill rat snakes. They are scared of rat snakes. And also, this has got a misleading name in Hindi, Goda Pachad. Also, there are myths and beliefs about rat snakes that they have got venom on their tail. They suck milk from the cows, or they can actually tie themselves on the legs of the horses, and they can bring them down. There are so many so many myths and misbeliefs about this poor snake. They're absolutely harmless. The only thing is that they are a little hyperactive when they encounter human beings. Otherwise, they have nothing which you have to be worrying about. All right, let's go to the next one. This was actually part of a video which I wanted to show you, but unfortunately, we could not show the video. This is a photograph or a video which I have taken a few weeks back from my own home in Kerala. Yeah, you can see that these are two big rat snakes, and it is not a mating. It is actually the two rat snakes are fighting with each other. These are two male rat snakes fighting with each other for a mating right. So there must be a female somewhere around, and unfortunately, these two males are fighting for the right of over the female. So, but many people think that it's a mating, or many people in this kind of a situation, many parts of the country, this is considered as, seeing two snakes fighting is considered as an inauspicious thing. There is nothing like that. This is basically two snakes are fighting, and if you go close by, they will stop the fight and they move around. So that's again a myth about snakes. You can see the netted pattern on the tail of both the rat snakes. And also, people think that, rat snake mate with the cobra. No, nothing like that. These are two rat snakes. These are not cobras. But when you see it from a distance, many people think that it is actually a rat snake and a cobra, or two cobras. It's a very common behavior in the pre-monsoon or monsoon time in most part of the country where you have rat snakes. So you must have come across with this image in your local WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups and all. Don't be scared. These are two rat snakes fighting with each other. All right. From a big snake, let me take you to a small snake, a very tiny snake. This is probably 4 or 5 inch long, very tiny snake. Looks like an earthworm, but it is not an earthworm. It is a snake. It has got scales all over the body. You can see the macro picture of the snake. It has got very tiny eyes, like a speck. That's all. You can't even distinguish whether there is an eye or not, but in this picture it is very clear. You can see that there is a small pinhead like eye. That's it. Very, 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 very common across country. Often you will find the snake in your garden, in among plants. The snakes survive on termites. They can eat only that much. And often transported along with this organic manure or soil or plant material, so they get distributed across the country. I am seeing a lot of interesting questions, but Mahesh, I would like to answer that question. How it was concluded it is not mating and it is combat? I've been watching snakes for a long time, and this is a behavior which we know about. And it is basically when the rat snakes fight with each other, they actually use their head to hit each other. So from the behavior, that it is a combat. And the mating behavior of the snake is totally different. And when they mate, you don't even see they are mating. There is no disturbance around. They prefer a very quiet mating session. So I don't think that you will see two rat snakes mating that often. All right. So this is a tiny worm-like snake. Again, harmless, non-venomous, nothing to worry about. Taking you to the common wolf snake, very common. I mean, it is the name itself is telling it is common. And don't ask me that why it is known as wolf snake. There are so many theories to that. I really don't have an answer why exactly it is called as a wolf snake, but we call it as a wolf snake. I don't buy any of those theories. Some people say that it look like the head looks like a wolf or the teeth look like a wolf. Whatever it is known as wolf snake. It's a harmless snake, mostly found inside houses. That's a problem with this fellow. Lizards are very a favorite of the snake, and the snake found its way to survive with the human beings in a crack in the wall, or between two bricks, or under a broken tile. The snake will survive. So many places in the evenings, when people walk around, they see the snake, because the snake come to areas where it can find a lizard, and a very tiny snake. I mean, not a very big snake. So what happens is that the snake will try to, catch a lizard or something, or even in the process of catching a lizard or a small mice, the larger wolf snake can actually grab a mouse for its dinner. But in that process, people will find it, and people look at the snake, and immediately someone will say that, oh, a black snake with the bands on it, it is a crate, and kill it. So unfortunately, wolf snakes get killed because people think that it's a crate. Wolf snakes are totally different from crate. The patterns are different, the coloration is different, the shape of the head is different, even the eye is different from the crate. But I don't blame anyone, because many times people are scared of snakes, and when they see the snake and some expert who is standing next to you, they will say that this is a crate. And often people don't take a chance. They will kill the snake without thinking twice about the snake. Very active at night. That's another thing. During the day, the snake is not even active. You don't even see it. But very, very, very active in the evening hours, like from 6 to 9 o'clock, 6 to 10 o'clock. That's often you will find the snake. And very active snake at night. During the day, this is very, very inactive. But in the night, the snake is very active. So, and also if you try to handle the snake, they will bite you repeatedly. Even though it is non-venomous, it have a behavior of repeat biting. All right. There's another common snake, very, very, very common in central India and certain parts of South India. But I think, striped keelback is very common in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, and some parts of Orissa also. Very common. It is in the local language, it is known as Sita Lati. Again, don't ask me why it is known as Sita Lati. A beautiful snake, beautiful harmless snake, very active during the day. And often you will find the snake near water bodies, not inside the water like a checkered keelback. They don't prefer to enter into the water and survive in water. They are the fringe players. They will be near the water bodies, especially in the grass or some bushes near the water body, often searching for frogs and toads, etc. So very harmless snake, and very colorful snake, but very, 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 very common, and a snake which you should not be worried about. I talked about the snake earlier. This is a common sand boa. It got a very rough body. 90% of the people who are not much aware about snakes will identify this snake as a viper. It is not a viper, or somebody will say that it is a baby of a python. I mean, again, very similar to a python. Very similar to a python by the appearance, body shape, head shape, everything. I mean, even in the beginning of my career as a snake person, I made this mistake of identifying this as a baby of python. The thing is that it is the boa family, but it's a non-venomous snake. Very aggressive in nature when you handle it. If any of my friends are here, they will say that, hey, Jose, you are telling wrong. Snakes are not aggressive and all. But my experience is that, long back when I started rescuing snakes, my first rescue or second rescue was a red sand boa, which is again a boa family snake, and it is known as a sand boa. And it is very harmless. I mean, even if you handle that snake, it will not bite you. So a few days later, I got this call, and I went, and those days there was no mobile phones or WhatsApp to take a photograph and send it to, those days were the phones which only had a facility to make a phone call, nothing else. So I called the senior and I asked him and described the snake, and he said, no, it is a sand boa. So I was handling a common sand boa, a red sand boa a few days back, which was not a aggressive snake. So I thought that this is again another sand boa, common sand boa, which may not be very harmless, which may not be very harmful. But the long story short, I went to catch the snake, and I really got bitten twice or thrice on my fingers. So that was the first lesson in my life that, never ever handle the snake without knowing the exact behavior of the snake. So if nowadays, if I see a sandboa, I suddenly remember my first bite. And I would like to tell you, I mean, I never got bitten by a venomous snake in my life. I was probably very careful with the venomous snakes, but in the beginning of my career, I think I have done this foolish things, try to handle a snake without knowing the behavior of the snake. I knew it was a non-venomous snake, but nobody told me that it is a nasty snake with a bad temper in many ways. Pardon all the snake friends who are here. It is a harmless snake, but it is aggressive when it comes to biting you. Okay. The Indian rock python, which is unmistakably a huge, large snake in most cases, but when it is a hatchling, it will be small. But often people find these large snakes. Nowadays, it is becoming very common in many parts of the country. It's largely a forest snake. Usually it was not found in farmlands and all. But I don't know, certain change in farming patterns and practices. You will find pythons in farmlands and also in cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai. You will find pythons. They're very adaptive. I think they are active at night, not much during the daytime. And in a city, I think they have enough to eat, whether it is a bandicoot or a dog or a cat. They survive on various prey. And with a lot of unscientific waste disposals in many pockets of the country or in the outskirts of the country, there are congregations of potential prey species for pythons. So probably they move in and they settle and then they multiply and they establish. So there are many reports of pythons finding their way into houses in the middle of cities. Harmless snake, but when they are big, bites can be really bad because they have got very sharp teeth, multi-layered teeth, which can actually scoop your muscle. So I have seen people getting bitten by pythons. So it is not a pleasant bite. And also the snake is physically the snake is powerful. When they are big, like about a 10 feet, 12 feet snake, can be really, really difficult to handle, and they can really give you a very nasty bite. So don't think pythons are harmless. Absolutely, when they are big, they can cause severe injury. Protected under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act, highly protected like a tiger or a leopard or a rhino in the country. All right. So those were the non-venomous snakes. And now let me tell you a bit about the venomous snakes, which you have to be very, very much aware about. You have seen the wolf snake, but here is the crate. Crates are common. As I told you in the beginning of my conversations, snake bites cause a lot of death across the country. Crate is part of the Big Four gang. We have 4 venomous snakes which are very common across the country. That is common crate, common cobra, the Russell's viper, and the saw scale viper. These 4 snakes together cause maximum human casualties, and crate is one of the most common culprit found across the country. A black snake with white bands on the body, milky white colored bands on the body. Very active at night. During the day, it is very, it is not active at all. Have a habit of, staying with the human beings in their houses, and, responsible for a lot of snake bites at night. All right. We don't have much of a time, so I'm going a little fast here. So here there is a photograph of a crate eating a wolf snake. So you can see the crate and you can see the wolf snake. You can see the difference between both the snakes. Also would like to tell you that snakes are carnivores, and the different snakes eat different things. So there are some snakes like crate or king cobras which actually eat other snakes. Crates actually prefer other snakes. So this is a perfect example that a crate is eating a wolf snake. So you can see it's a black snake with white bands on the body. And the wolf snake, you can see the poor victim is a little more brownish in color, and the bands on the body are broken, and also it is not paired, and the scale shape and all different, but you don't need to go at that level. Kraits and wolf look similar, but they are different snake. There are different types of kraits across the country. There are Himalayan kraits, there are lesser kraits, there are black kraits, there is banded krait. The Himalayan kraits or the banded kraits, they are comparatively less in numbers across the country. The distributions are limited, but the common krait, which is on the lower left, is the most common krait found all over the country, and it's a venomous snake. It is good to remember the snake. You don't need to take screenshots and all. Towards the end of it, I'll give you a tool which can help you to identify snakes. Okay, good thing. So that's how the krait looks, which is on the top. It's a venomous krait, and the bottom, the snakes are non-venomous. They have white bands on the body. They have got, one of them got a black, absolutely black color body. One of them got a brownish body. They are Lycodon families, wolf family snakes, but they are not venomous. So on the top, the krait is venomous. All right, let me go a little bit faster here. Well, common cobra, I don't think I need to tell you much about it. It's a venomous snake, common, the iconic venomous snake of the country, and found most part of the country. I'll show you the next slide with the different coloration of the cobra. So, in various parts of the country, the color of cobra also changes. Largely towards northern part of the country, in Rajasthan and in Haryana, you will find a little bit blackish color. Towards south, you will find brownish color, and in some rare occasions, you will find a light brown colored cobra, which is often called as the golden cobra, there is nothing like that. It is just a color difference. But all the snakes are cobras, and these are spectacle cobras. So they have got this trademark, the spectacle mark on the hood. But that also can differ. Like if you can see that, there is one snake on the right-hand side, you cannot see the spectacle mark. It is not necessary that the spectacle mark should be always there, but it is known as the spectacle cobra. Depends on the coloration, depends on the pattern. The shape of the spectacle can also change. So the most commonly found venomous snake across the country. The venom is neurotoxic. The venom affects the nervous system. Both krait and cobra, the venom affect the nervous system. So the bite by cobra or krait are supposed to be treated in a hospital only. No black magic or traditional healing can help you in healing. The next one is also one of the most venomous snakes, the Russell's viper, which is again responsible for a large number of human deaths. A ground-dwelling snake, which is not very common not very common snake which enter into a household, but very common in paddy fields, very common in paddy, wheat, and sugarcane fields. A large snake, they can grow up to 6.5 feet. It has got a brownish body and a chain-like pattern on the body. And often they create this hissing sound. They inhale a lot of air and pump it out through their large nostrils, creating a sound. The sound, the hissing sound of a Russell's viper will be like a pressure cooker sound. So they try to warn you, but if you cross the safe distance, then they bite you. Are not very calm in their nature. If it is threatened, if it is injured, if it is if you cross the safe limit with the snake, there is a high chance of the snake biting. If undisturbed, it will not do anything. The snake will just stay hidden underneath things. But if you disturb, then only bites. The venom is hemotoxic. That means it affects the circulatory system, can cause severe damage to your kidneys and your liver, and also many other internal organs. So, responsible for a lot of human deaths where people get bitten in the fields. And you can look at the coloration of the snake. Very difficult to detect the snake in a paddy field or in a farmland. So that is the Russell's viper. Can see the baby of a Russell's viper. It's a tiny snake, but also many people ask that whether the baby snakes are venomous. Well, baby snakes are absolutely venomous. When they are born, then itself they have got their fangs and their venom gland ready, and they can actually bite you, and the bite can be lethal. So there is no there is no maturity time for a snake to become venomous. There is no, it should not cross the first birthday or second birthday, nothing. So even if it is a baby snake, it is venomous from the day it is born. So be careful. There is no non-venomous venomous snakes. Once it is venomous, whether it is a baby snake or a big one, they are both of them are venomous. That's a photograph of a Russell's viper in water. It probably, this kind of photos will help you to identify the snake when you find them in natural habitats. Not a very fan of
Friends, it looks like Jose's connection is stuck. So please wait, and I'm sure he'll resume his connection and come back. Jose, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, excellent. Go on.
All right. So that's another photograph of Russell's viper. As I told you, you can see the large nostrils. It's a large size nostril, and you can see the vertical pupil of the Russell's viper. Very, very interesting thing. It got a cat-like pupil. So it's a viper, and it got a vertical pupil. And also we say that this has got a rough skeeled scales on the body. You can see behind the eye, you can see that it's covered with scales, and in the middle of the scale there is a small line-like thing, and that's known as a keeled scale. Not getting into the details, not making you snake experts as I promised. Also, this photograph is interesting. You can see the forked tongue of the snake. I hope you can see the forked tongue. The forked tongue is actually the receptor. It is, when you see snakes, they always, you can see that they put their tongue out and flicker the tongue and then pull the tongue inside. It is actually an antenna which is capturing a lot of smell particles around and putting it in the mouth. There is a specialized organ which is helping the snake to detect the smells. So if you think snakes are like simple animals, no, they are like very complicated machinery. So they have got an organ which is known as Jacobson's organ, which can actually detect various smells. So the smell of a prey or predator or the surroundings. So that is why snakes flicker their tongue outside, and the tongue is it's a forked tongue. It's split into two. This is a photograph. I mean, sorry, this was there was a bit of an animation, but we could not see it because we are on a PDF presentation. Russell's vipers, mothers give birth to live young ones, and often there are a large number of them. You can see the photograph on the right side. A freshly hatched Russell's viper is showing its fangs. So many times when you go for rescues, you will find a mother give birth to about 30-40 Russell's viper babies. I call them, it's like a carpet bombing. Mother is just moving around and delivering baby Russell's vipers in a 100-200 meter radius. Okay, the final member in the Big Four gang is the saw-scaled viper. Very interesting name, saw-scaled viper. So you can see the second picture in the side box. It's a very it's a good macro photograph. You can see the scale of the snake. It has got a saw-like patterns on it. So when you see the snake actually move its body, and it make a rasping sound by moving its body. It's just rough, it will rub its scales across, and it will make a tiny sound. So that's a rasping sound of a saw scale viper. Both Russell's and saw scale vipers are hemotoxic in nature. You will find a lot of Russell's vipers in drier part of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, and a large number of them in the Konkan region in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, and also the plains of Tamil Nadu, very common. And very tiny snakes, very ground dwelling snake, which is about 1.5 to very rarely 2 feet long, and often bite people when they are walking barefoot or picking things from ground without knowing. A tiny snake, but a deadly snake which can deliver lethal venom to human beings. And any bite by any of these 4 snakes, whether it is common krait or cobra or Russell's viper or saw scale viper, you definitely need to go to a hospital. So that's where I stop the identification of snakes and will get into some other part of it, of snakes. So these are photographs of saw scale vipers. And this is a perfect photograph taken by Vishal Sandra, if I'm not mistaken, from West Bengal. That what is actual situation? This is not a photoshopped image. This is actually a Russell's viper which was located in a paddy field. So that's the kind of environment the snake will stay, and that is a possibility. That is the highly possible situation where a human snake encounter can happen. The person will never know the snake is around, and the snake will hide underneath that paddy. And when you lift the paddy without knowing that the snake is there, it will bite. So that's how it bites. So that's a photograph of the snake from the natural habitat. Now, I talked a lot about how can you get bitten by the snake, but also let me tell you how to avoid snake bites, because I can see a lot of people here may be concerned about it. First thing, that you keep your house clean. That snakes follow rats. Many places in rural India where we look at snake bite cases, snakes entered into house in search of their food, that is rat. And if you have rats, mice inside your house, that will attract snakes. Also in urban environment, also you will find a lot of rats, because your kitchen outlets, your bathroom outlets, these are areas where you find rats or mice coming inside your house, or a broken window, because in our urban environment there are plenty of rats. But if you have rats coming into the house, then rats will be followed by snakes if there are snakes. A few days back, where I stay in Delhi, there was a complaint in the local RWA group that there is a snake found in somebody's air conditioner. And when they opened the air conditioner, they found remains of a rat nesting site. So if there are rats, snakes will follow. So keep your house clean from clutter and rats, so you will avoid snakes coming into the house. Always use a flashlight when you walk outside. If you are living in a place where you have snakes, especially monsoon, how much ever you are familiar with the place, it is your backyard, it's your friend yard, it's a 100-meter road between 2 houses which you are very familiar, you know all the stones, you know all every leaf blade. Please, a snake can come from anywhere, and if you are walking in the night, carry a flashlight. If you don't have a flashlight, just use your mobile phone flashlight. It will definitely help you. I personally can tell you incidents where I was saved only because I was carrying a flashlight in my hand. It was a very familiar area. I thought that, as usual, we will walk, but a person who was with me had a flashlight, and I almost stepped on a crate, but I could see it, and I managed to save myself. So flashlight is always helpful. And also around your house, if you have snakes, please ensure that there is enough light around your house. So, install a light bulb, install a street light kind of a thing, so that you can see if there is a snake. And it is very easy to identify snake at night when you have enough light. They will stand out. It's very easy to identify the presence of a snake. Also, keep your surroundings clean where you stay near the house. It's important to ensure that you cut the grass and keep the bushes short. And also, if you have got waterlogging near the house, remove all that. So keeping the surroundings clean will ensure that there is less number of snakes. You are making the habitat not suitable for snakes. And another thing, many people ask, there are many snake repellents available in the market, granules and liquids, devices. None of these things will work. Don't think carbolic acid or garlic or turpentine. I don't know what all things people spray, sprinkle. Nothing works. Kerosene. All these things are not going to keep the snakes away. This will give you an unpleasant smell around probably for some time, but it is not going to keep the snakes away. And especially those electronic devices. There are a number of electronic devices which they say that they emit infrared waves, or I don't know what it is, but they say that they keep snakes away. Nothing happens. Any of these devices won't keep snakes away. Just ensure that your surroundings are clean. You don't provide a hiding place for snakes. You don't provide food for snakes like rats. You will avoid snakes coming into your house. And when especially kids, when they are playing, a lot of kids get bitten when they play in the open, and when they go and try to lift ball or something when it is lost. So in such situations, please look around before you put your hand inside something and try to pull out a ball or a bat or something. So please ensure such kind of mistakes are not happening. Then if you are trekking, if you are traveling outside, or if you are sleeping on the floor, especially in rural India, आप जमीन पे जब सोते हैं तो आप मॉस्किटो नेट लगाइए अपने चारों तरफ, जो सांप को अपने करीब आने से रोक देगा. There are many people get bitten when they sleep on the ground by crates, because crates got this peculiar habit of seeking some warmth of human beings, and they go near to the people, and often it results in snake bite cases. So if you're sleeping on ground, please ensure that you have a mosquito net around you. Definitely it will keep you, free from mosquito bites, but also, much problematic bite like a snake bite can be avoided if you have a mosquito net around you. Okay. So that's basically how you prevent snake bites. And also now quickly a few things like, is it necessary to identify a snake to treat snake bites? No. The antivenom which is available in this country is polyvalent antivenom, and you don't need to identify the snake to give a treatment. So the identifying the species is only a scientific requirement, but it is not necessary for the doctor to identify the snake. If somebody is bitten by the snake, please ensure that the person is immobilized, find the nearest mode of transportation, and take him to the hospital where he can get antivenom. That is the best thing. Straightforward. Don't think too much. And please don't do any of these things. Don't take the patient to a tantric. So I really want to tell you that don't go to all this local healers and faith healers and traditional vaidyas who says that they can heal snake bites. Please don't do that. No need of sucking the blood out of the snake bite wound. Nothing happens. I mean, you will only complicate the situation. Do not cut open the wound, and that will bleed the person and probably result in the death of the person, not because of a venomous bite, but because of excess bleeding. No burning, no putting turmeric or neem patta, nothing. Doctors even say that you don't even need to wash the area where a snake bite happened, because when you wash, you will try to clean the wound, and that will be a small tiny massage which you are giving to the bitten area, which will actually help the venom to enter into your body much faster. So if anybody get bitten, the best thing is to stay calm and move to a hospital. And one thing which is largely suggested is to immobilize the bitten area. I'm repeating,
Do not tie, tourniquet, but just immobilize. Immobilize means as if you got a sprain. That will reduce the blood circulation in that area. That will give you more time to reach the hospital. So please do not put any knots or anything. Just immobilize. If it is a leg or a hand, usually one of this is getting affected by a snake bite to begin with. Just immobilize and take the patient to the next hospital available. Nearest hospital available. It's like as if you have a broken leg or a broken hand. Sling it and take the person to the hospital. That's about snake bites. I had some photographs of snakes eating things. But now, most important thing is now, don't do stupid things like this. I could see many people in the beginning asked, I want to become a snake rescuer, I want to become a wildlifer. Snake rescue is a very, risky thing, and you can see this foolish fellows. I don't know how many of them are alive. One is alive. I know the right hand side one. So a fellow Malayali from Kerala is these are stupidities. All three of them are handling venomous snakes without. The middle photograph, I really don't know whether this boy is still alive. That's two Russell's wipers in his hand, keeping as if he got a piece of plum cake in his hand. And one of that snake can bite him, and there is no chance for him to even reach a hospital. Probably those snakes were like, unlike what I said, they were probably good-tempered snakes, probably God-fearing snakes. I can't say anything beyond that. Stunned with snakes are really, really discouraged, and that can really kill you. Again, these were videos which we could not play. These are again stupid snake handlers, because a lot of youngsters nowadays, everybody want to create some content. So they will do crazy things. They will do scary things. Like this guy on the first video is milking a snake for snake venom. Snake venom is actually it's a narcotic substance as per the law, and milking snake is actually illegal. So don't do that. And why you have to milk a snake? What is the value of the snake venom? If you milk snake venom, and there are no shops which will buy snake venom is extracted only through scientific methods. And the guy who's in Central, you can see that anybody who can read Hindi, सर्पमित्र XYZ का सांप काटने से दुखद निधन हो गया. बात सही है. आप इस तरीके से सांप को हैंडल करेगा केयरलेसली, सांप काटेगा, आप मरेगा. I don't have much of a feeling for those who handle the snake stupidly and got bitten. The final picture is this. I don't know whose hand it is, but it was most shocking video I got in my life. One of the most shocking video. That's a crate, and some kid, I can look at the hand and say that probably a teenager, probably a youngster, is just playing around with that crate. That is like having a grenade in your hand with the pin taken away. Any moment it can bite you. Okay. These are photographs, actual photographs of people got bitten by snakes. So if any of you attending this workshop thinking that handling snakes are cool, please have a look at the photograph, and you will understand that what damage snake bite can do to you. Often bite sites are not very visible. This is a bite mark of a crate. I'm not getting into the details, but just showing you this photograph, because in most cases you will not find that classic 2 feet, 2 fang marks and all when a snake bite happens. So there will be tiny markings which is a snake bite. You don't need to always see that two fang marks like what is shown in films and serials. Quickly moving to a few other things, like there are large number of snake bites, and the snake bites death happen because you take patients to hospitals and for jadfuk. So you can see that these are news. There's a photograph on the top which I have taken in a hospital where a lady was brought in with a Russell's viper bite, and you can see a wire tie was tied on her leg. people think that you tie so tight that the venom does not the blood does not enter into the body, but that's really, really bad for the patient, because venom will anyway enter into the body once the wire tie is removed, but it also can create a shock to the patient, and it will cause death. But also this kind of cutting, bleeding and all will make will deteriorate the health of the patient. So anywhere if you take a patient to all these magical healers, you're actually killing the person. Antivenom is available in most hospitals across the country, and that is the only treatment thing which should be given to a snakebite patient. And finally, about rescues. Should we rescue snakes? If you rescue snakes, you have to use the proper equipments which are available in the market. Buy proper equipments if you have to. And unless and until you are an expert handler, you know how to deal with snakes, don't try rescuing snakes. Don't use this kind of equipment for rescuing snakes. And there are methods of scientific rescue under which I'm not getting into. And again, don't do this kind of things which can be dangerous to both snakes and people. Look at the middle photograph. Like, that's a king cobra. Somebody rescued a king cobra, and just imagine the safety of the person who is riding the motorcycle. His friend is holding a king cobra by its neck, and you're going to ride a motorcycle. You can see absolute carelessness. And the snake can actually give him a bite on his back, and you will have no place to, take him to hospital, and he will die. So this kind of stupidities, please stay away from that. And if any of you need, reading materials or education material, awareness material, please write to me. I will share my email IDs. I can see that Mohit was sharing email ID, but you can write to me, and I can share all these things which can be good education material. That's another thing. You don't need to by heart all the snakes with their photographs and how to identify. The posters are available. You can download the posters, and probably I think there are few more things. So there are few education materials available. A friend of mine, Piyush, and his team developed a board game like Snake and Ladder, which is again a good education material. Here there are no snake, there are no ladders. There are only good snakes and bad snakes. Venomous snakes and non-venomous snakes. So if you are in a column where you find a venomous snake, you will go a couple of boxes down, and if you are in a column where there is a non-venomous snake, you will go up in the game. So there are many such education things. You can see that this little kids are sitting and playing this game. So that's the best way to learn more about snakes. Any doctors who are here, there are government guidelines and protocols for handling snake bites, and the Ministry of Environment and Forest came up with guidelines to deal with human snake conflict, and the Health Ministry has come up with protocols for dealing with snake bites. So both this information is available with the respective department. Please download and use these things if you are dealing with the human snake conflict or snake bite treatment. And finally, the best thing is that I could not show you the video. I'll share the links also. Just scan this QR code using your mobile phone. You will get a Serpent mobile application, which is about snakes and snake bites. You have got all the snakes found in India, the details in the mobile application. And the mobile application also got videos, posters, all those things which I showed you built within the app. And use the app if you find a snake. Very simple. You take a photograph from a distance, and there are options to send it for identification. One of our experts will help you to identify the snake. So that is the best thing. You can use this QR code to download the mobile application to learn more about snakes. I'm sorry, I was like, I already crossed my 1 hour, so I thought let me wrap up a little quickly, and I will go to the question answer session. Mohit, that's okay?
Yes, absolutely, Jose. It was fantastic. Go on to question answer session, but before you do, just tell them that King Cobra's nest. That's a very interesting interesting fact.
Yeah, I skipped a few things today because I thought that, like our last presentation, we only could finish 3 or 4 slides. Yeah, as Mohit told me about king cobras, king cobra is the only snake which is found all over the world. Wherever it is found, the king cobra actually makes its own nest. So that is the only snake which makes a nest. Don't worry, king cobras are not very common across the country. They are found only in some parts of the country. The largest venomous snake found in the world. You have king cobras in India. You got king cobras in Thailand, Myanmar, parts of Nepal, Bhutan, and even within India, even in Andamans, we have king cobras. So they make their nest, and the mother will lay eggs, and she will guard the nest for throughout the time of the hatching process. And just before the eggs are hatching, the mother will abandon the nest, because king cobras, as I told you, they are also other snake eaters. So even the mother will move away from the nest after guarding the nest for a long time, because she also may not want to be tempted by the yummy babies coming out from her own nest. So I think that's a quick thing about king cobras. But otherwise, let us go through the questions quickly. What are the benefits given by snakes to human or to nature? As I told you, snakes are the best pest controllers. They kill and they eat rats. So that itself is the biggest service which is provided by the snakes. For example, the cobra is called as Nallapambu, the good snake in Tamil, because the Tamil farmers know the value of a cobra in their ecosystem. And cobras will the cobras will kill rats, and that will invariably save grains. So I have seen actually rat holes. There is a particular community in South India who will hunt rats, and one of their thing is that when they are hunting rats in summertime, they will dig these holes, and then they come up with not handful, like they will come up with sack full of rice grain from the handful of big bowlfuls of grain from the rat holes, because rats during the season, they collect this and keep it in their burrows, and these people collect this from the rat hole. So imagine snakes in your ecosystem killing these rats and eating it. How can you differentiate sand boa from venomous snakes so as not to panic? Unless and until you definitely need to know it is a sand boa or a non-venomous or a venomous python, venomous Russell's viper, no need of handling it. And if you're not sure, my advice is that treat it as a viper, keep away from that snake. Now, if you really want to understand what is the difference between a sand boa and a Russell's viper, the body patterns are totally different. The Russell's viper got a chain-like pattern on the body, and sand boa does not have that kind of a pattern. It has blotches all over the body, and the head shape is different. And the Russell's viper always have this habit of coiling in a particular way. So unless and until you study a bit of behavior, not much needed. But otherwise, yes. Or what you can do is that you can look at the comparison pictures of Russell's viper and common sand boa to have a visual identification of this. Are rock python similar to reticulated python? Yes, they look somewhat similar, but not exactly. They are two different species, but they are python. And somebody is saying reticulated is not found in mainland, found in Nicobar Island. Also, reticulated is found in some part. Yes, the Andaman Nicobar it is definitely, but in the Myanmar border also you can find reticulated python. Difference between Indian rock python and Burmese python looks different. That's it. Otherwise, there is not much of a difference. Is rescuing snakes an effective solution to human-snake conflicts, since snakes often come with a well, not exactly. You keep on rescuing snakes, it is not going to solve the problem. In my opinion, that non-venomous snakes should not be removed from their habitat if it is okay with people around. Venomous snake, probably you may have to take a very learned decision when you deal with the venomous snakes in human populated areas. The conservationist in me will tell you do not remove the venomous snakes, but a practical human being who has witnessed a large number of snake bite death, I will say that you may have to release or remove a venomous snake from a thickly populated area. If it is a farmhouse and all, you don't need to worry much. The snake was there all these years, and you happen to see it today. You just lift it and release it in the backyard; it will disappear. So not a problem. Are Russell's viper and saw scale viper similar? Well, they look similar somewhat, but they are not too similar. Two different species. How I made a PPT on them. How can I contact? Okay, I will share my email ID at the end of the talk. Myotoxic, Vinesh Parthasarthi, which kind of snakes are myotoxic? The common crate has some, the venom has some myotoxic effects, but still we consider it as a neurotoxic snake, but not, the difference does not matter in India, because if you are bitten by a Russell's viper or a cobra or a saw-scale viper, what you're going to get is a polyvalent antivenom. The treatment strategy of the doctor will differ from the situation of the patient. Like if the patient is, it's a totally different. I mean, it's up to the doctor to decide what kind of a treatment to be given. You don't need to look at whether the venom is myotoxic or not. You have to look at whether it is a hemotoxic or a neurotoxic venom, because the treatment strategies are different. Sir, are horned snakes venomous? So there are no horned snakes in India. There is a horned viper which is found in the Middle East. I probably think that the person is talking about that. They are venomous snakes, and also horned vipers are there in South American countries. So they are venomous, but definitely not in India. Yagnesh, yes, how can we save ourselves from them? I explained that very much in the presentation. Thimmate with a 10% phorate is used in our area to keep snake away. I think now you understood that it is not useful, and I don't think that it is a good idea to have thimmate phorate in your surroundings. They are toxic substances, and you should not be pouring it all around your place. That's not good for your health also. A thin mosquito net is sufficient protection from a snake bite? No, not exactly like that. You put a mosquito net, you don't wrap it, you put it around your bedding so that you are not next to it. Please don't think that the next mosquito, it will create a barrier between you and the snake, like it will act as a net. So mosquito net should be spread wide, and you will be sleeping in the middle, not wrapping a mosquito net around you. So please be careful. Mosquito net is very thin. The snake can actually bite you through the net. Okay. Is it true that only government hospitals have antivenom? No. Many hospitals, including government and private hospitals, do have antivenom. You need to find hospitals in your area which has got antivenom. Please use the mobile application which I gave to you. We have listed about 2,700 hospitals which have got antivenom as per the records. So if you use the mobile application, you can actually find the nearest hospital according to your location. It will show you hospitals in 25 kilometers around you where antivenom is available. Preeti Bansod, type of snake venom and which venom impact more on human, and how many deaths had caused? Any of the big four, whether it is hemotoxic or neurotoxic, that can cause human death. And as I told you, about 50,000 people die a year, every year across the country. Prasad Joshi is asking, how does polyvalent ASV affects adversely if used in case of non-venomous snake bite? Prasad, it's a medical doctor's practice that, if it is a venomous snake bite, there are symptoms. Only if the symptoms are available, or only the symptoms are manifested, then only antivenom is usually given. Some people will have an anaphylactic reaction towards antivenom, but it can be managed. So doctors will actually give a test dose injection, and they will see if there is any anaphylactic reaction. If there is anaphylactic reaction, there are medicines which are available which will ensure that the reaction is not there. So it's not a problem. And Doctors should give antivenom only when they are absolutely sure about the envenomation. Otherwise, it is a waste of antivenom and also a chance of adverse reactions. Well, yes, sir, these activities can make them toothless. It is so right. No, if a snake bites you, it is not going toothless. The snakes can regrow their teeth n number of times. There is no fixed number of times. If the teeth is accidentally broken, it will regrow. Prerna Sharma is asking, can you throw some light on the exotic species of snakes? Okay, that's a completely different and a very wide subject. I don't want to get into this, but exotic species of snakes, there are a number of exotic species which are coming into India, which are not good in many aspects, because you will never know what kind of diseases they are carrying. The possibility of them getting out from your captivity and becoming invasive, alien invasive species in the ecosystem, that's big trouble. Probably this can be something which we can discuss one-to-one. I identify snake bites. Parthasarathi, I will leave identification of snake bite to a doctor. But if you have a suspected snake bite and there is excruciating pain or bleeding from that bitten area, you will definitely suspect that it is a snake bite. But my advice is that in any case, if you feel that, or you are in a situation, or somebody whom you know in a situation where they have a suspected snake bite, it is better to go to the hospital instead of you diagnosing whether it is a snake bite or not. Sometimes a snake bite can be as simple as a little scratch. So if you feel that it was a snake bite, or if you doubt that it is a snake bite, it's good to go to a hospital. Email ID is shared. I need your guidance. I want to pursue a career in wildlife. Well, that's a question which I had long back. Maybe Diksha, all I can tell you is that wildlife conservation. Mohit is sitting here, who's conducting, who owns the one of the largest tour operating thing in the country. Mohit himself is a wildlifer. Gaurav is sitting here, who is employed in the wildlife sector. I am sitting here, who is employed in the wildlife sector. We are professionals in wildlife conservation. So three of us are perfect examples to tell you that that's wrong. That there is definitely there is career options in wildlife. Also, there is career options. I don't know what background you have. You can be a forest officer. You can be a wildlife warden. There are so many. There are scientists. There are biologists. There are researchers. There are so many options. Well, it's up to you to take that call. I think none of our parents wanted us to be this wildlifers. They thought that we should be doing different jobs, but we happen to be in this field. All I can say is that if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You will not regret. Yeah. Again, communication and engineering student become a wildlife biologist, forced into engineering. Okay, this is becoming more personal for me.
I think, Jose, it's the subject is such that it's very intriguing, and this session can go on for hours together.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to compile all the questions.
Yeah.
And then next week, I'll tell Gaurav to put all the questions with answers that he knows.
Sure.
And wherever we need to fill in the gap, we'll fill in the gaps with you. And we send these question and answers like a PDF to everyone who's signed up for this webinar.
Yeah.
And then, friends, also, if you want to meet Jose and you want to attend one of his walks in Delhi on August 25th, which is in the evening. So you'll have to get your head torches and you'll have to get, you'll have to wear your boots and come. And he's going to take us, through some sort of wilderness areas, looking for snakes, frogs, lizards, things like that. So it'll be very interesting if you want to sign up for Delhi Earth Walks. Later, we will send you an information sheet where you can actually get to know more about it. Right now, we've got all your questions. We're going to work on these questions because this will be a great document for Jose also to take his work further, and we'll share the answers in detail with you next week. Give us some time. So today we want to conclude. It's an hour and a half. We've already overshot 30 minutes. But like I said, it's a never-ending subject. And it's very intriguing because these creatures are lifelines and they live behind the scenes. They do their jobs too well. And let me tell you, like my philosophy, we have shared habitats. So if we're not willing to share these habitats, our habitats with them, then we shouldn't think of great quality of life. If we want to have great quality of life, we need to share our habitats with these guys. Am I correct, Jose? Is that making sense?
Absolutely, Mohit. And I have shared the app links for both Android and Google platform. I'm sorry, Android and iOS platform. People can download. Most of your questions regarding snakes can be answered in that by when you see options in the app. Otherwise, get in touch with me over email. I'll be more than happy. And thank you for this opportunity. And as Mohit said, talks about snakes are never ending. So pardon us for that. And thank you, everyone. And yeah, that's all. And stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Jose. Thank you. It was an eye-opener. Absolutely fantastic, informative session. And these deep knowledge sessions of yours are absolutely game changers for all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, my team, for putting it together. And thank you, all the participants, for being here to educate yourself. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.